Hello, everybody, and welcome to Uproot Reddit. Buying your first home is one of the most thrilling feelings yet. Your new home, where you can decorate it however you want. Also, moving into a new home can be just as refreshing and a good change of pace as well. What could be better? Well, how about making sure you have privacy and only let people come visit you that you want over to your new house? After all, you want to keep it nice and new, not overrun by someone else's things. Nor do you want the atmosphere to dampen by someone else's rude behavior. Atmosphere is everything when it comes to a house. Take, for example, Reddit user Togirai Konok, who has a bit of an entitled stepmother who likes to pry and snoop into their lives constantly. In today's post, entitled stepmother demands key to my soon-to-be house. For quick reference, there are 5 people in this event. M equals mom, SD is stepdad, D is dad, ESM is entitled stepmom, and me equals, me. Little bit of a backstory. My stepmother and I never got along from day one, especially when she turned into a more and more entitled stepmother as I got into my later teenage years, and was the reason I moved out of my father's house to live full-time with mom, despite their custody agreement. Details are important, but the list is a hefty one. The important one for this account is snooping. Entitled stepmother has to stick her nose in my life, room, car, job, health, etc. to a comical degree. She has also done some pretty pointlessly petty things, like giving me a false key to her and my dad's house when it got rekeyed for reasons I still don't understand. This is also important. Now, on to the most recent entitled stepmother moment that happened on August 11th, 2020. Phone call from entitled stepmom to me. I want a key to your house when it closes. No. What? No, you will give me a key. A key or a fake key? You weren't really specific. A real key to the house. And why would I do that, given your track record? Because I'm your parent. Quit being flippant. I don't see what's so funny, me. I'm asking for a key and I will get one. Asking? Entitled stepmother, you are demanding a key of your 25-year-old stepson who owes you nothing. Oh yeah, I want my dresser back too, as we agreed upon all those years ago. Well, I'm not giving you the dresser back unless you give me a key. So you're going to steal from me because the dresser couldn't make it up the stairs and you are throwing a fit because I won't let you snoop? Young man, you have a history of making poor choices and it's my job to correct them. I couldn't do it while you were in Ohio, and now that you're back, I will get you back on the straight and narrow. I should point out that my poor choices involved eating in my room while doing homework, watching TV with my girlfriend when I was a teenager, and not going to bed by 10 p.m. She's a nutty conservative Christian woman who gets mad at me for anything that isn't in her micron-sized list of appropriate actions for me. Yeah, you won't be getting a key, and because of you, Dad won't likely get one because you can't be trusted. And ended the call. Not 5 minutes later, my mom and stepdad are rolling on the floor laughing because she had called them, demanding that they talk some sense into me and make me give her a key. Yeah, not gonna happen. Neither my mother nor stepfather can stand my entitled stepmother. Here's where she truly shines for the entitled stepmother though, rather than just being demanding and a snoop. It happened the following day on August 12th, 2020. It's important to note, I'm high on painkillers after my back spasms sent me face first into the floor from their strength. Hey, me, have you thought about giving me a key? Nah, you don't get one. Even for your favorite step-parent? I like cat poop more than I like you. Fine. You will lose your car. I forbid you from driving and I'll expect your keys tonight. You want to take the keys to a car you don't own or pay anything on because you won't take no for an answer? I am your parent. I hung up after she started yelling. She showed up at my mother's house 10 minutes later demanding my keys to my car because she was revoking her permission for me to drive, and we had to call our neighbor, the off-duty cop, to come over and speak to her. I wouldn't be surprised if she tried to put a lien on my car. More insane things have happened. It's so bad that my dad is agreeing that he shouldn't get a key, but won't leave her because of her usual entitled behavior. This is just the most recent in a long list of this kind of behavior. And here is the original title for the story. Quote, "Entitled stepmother won't take no for an answer over a key to my house. Tries to revoke her permission for me to drive." Also, to clear a few things up, 25-year-old single male. Perhaps a restraining order may need to be put in place. For an entitled stepmom who wants full control over her stepchild's life, that's pretty extreme and it's annoying. Plus, he's 25. Give Togirai Konok some space. Adulthood is practically making one's own decisions, not someone else barging in and making every little decision for you. Man, these entitled parents really have a way of getting on people's nerves. The moment that all their pettiness comes back to bite them is when they decide to shut down. Like what happened with Reddit user Artilleryman08's friend, who is a doctor. Now, doctors have to deal with a lot of patients, especially nowadays. And sometimes those patients are understanding. Others, well, are not. And then there are the entitled patients who just show up to waste the doctor's time with petty, rude things. And we're about to see what happens when the doctor is at their limit. In today's post, doctors shuts down entitled mom during an emergency. I'm posting this for a friend of mine. My buddy is a very good surgeon and has dedicated his life to medicine. He frequently goes to hotspots around the world to offer his services. He spent time in Syria, in Iraq during the war, in Africa after 9/11 and the Boston bombing. He got in his car and offered his help at hospitals there. He is unmarried, and the only thing he does for himself is he takes 3 or 4 weeks off twice a year, once in July and once in December. He told me he does this so he doesn't lose his mind, which is fair. On those times, he really lets loose. He'll go on vacation somewhere, maybe take up a hobby, go skydiving, scuba diving, meet women, eat wild food, and at Christmas he spends time with his brother's family and apparently gives some pretty nice gifts. He's as good of a person as you could ever hope to meet, and an excellent surgeon. Without giving too much away, before COVID at his hospital, they had a pretty busy day, which at a hospital is never a good thing. He was doing one emergency surgery after another. Everyone was slammed and more people were waiting for emergency care. One person had already died because of the backlog, and a few more on the operating table. No matter how good the surgeon is, sometimes you simply can't save people. In the midst of all this chaos, entitled mother walks into the ER and begins demanding that someone see her brat kid who had a bruise on his face because another kid punched him at school, probably for being a brat. The secretary managed to get her to wait in the waiting room with all the people waiting to see if their loved ones were okay. Her kid went and apparently decided that he was the only one allowed to play with the hospital waiting room toys and would scream at any other kids who tried to approach. Our hero doctor, meanwhile, is fighting for the life of a 16-year-old who was in a car accident. No idea if it was his fault or not, it really didn't matter. And sadly, the kid didn't make it. I always feel this is the worst thing for a surgeon. Them trying their best, but sometimes it's not good enough. He has to get his own emotions in check before going to face the parents. They have a special room for this in the hospital. It has comfortable furniture and a table that is nailed down. He is in the middle of breaking this awful news to parents who are feeling a pain that words are too cheap to describe, when in bursts Karen. Apparently, she followed the parents as they were escorted to the room. She took a look around and said, "When you're done taking a break, my son needs..." Doctor shoves her out and calls security. He finishes talking to the parents, then goes to the waiting room. The secretary filled him in. He asked the mother, who had been berating the secretary ever since being so rudely treated by the doctor, which child was hers. He went over to the kid and in the waiting room gives the kid a quick look over, declares he doesn't have a concussion, and tells the entitled mother to get out of the hospital before I call the police. The entitled mother says, "I demand you," and he responds, "No, I have patients that need me much more than you. Your kid is fine, you just need to raise him better. Get the flip out." He had security escort her and her kid all the way to her car to ensure that she left. Now, this is a guy who I have never seen get angry. He got robbed in Ibiza, losing his wallet, all his credit cards, IDs, and his passport, and shrugged it off, saying he already canceled the card. But an alert out for the IDs, and the most the robber got was about 50 euros and a nice wallet. But when he told me this story, he was shaking with rage. Now, to clarify, I was not present when any of this took place. I retold the story as he told it to me with his permission, and at his request have been intentionally vague about certain details like his name, where he works, etc. Well, now we know what happens when you push a doctor to do what you want. Instead of getting help, you are only hurting yourself by being demanding and argumentative. Doctors really don't have the time or the patience to deal with entitled parents, no pun intended. To all the doctors and nurses and all the essential workers out there, know that we are rooting for you and we thank you for your services. Well, that's all the time we have for today. We'll be back for more petty entitled parent stories right here on Uproot Reddit, and we'll see you all next time.